things you can do in the US, but you can't do it in China. Now, China and America, two global economies, but two completely different worlds. So the first thing that comes to your mind is obviously freedom of speech, which is what all the haters say about China. But we're going to discover much deeper than that today, and some of these might shock you. So before we dive right in, I just want to thank all of you so much. My 100,000 subscribers, thank you for subscribing, guys. With you, I can really show the world about China, life in China. And because you guys are watching my videos, it's getting pushed out onto YouTube, and more people in the world are seeing China, the real China. So I really appreciate you guys so much. To the next 100. Anyway, ni hao, I'm Lizzie, and let's get into it. So the first one, let's start with guns. In America, you can own a firearm, you can buy firearms, but here in China, that is not allowed. But that is not something that I want. I am so thankful that I live in a country where guns are not allowed. I mean, look at what the guns are doing in America. Not just shootings every day, but school shootings, kids. You know, parents sending their kids to school. We all know what is going on in America. So living in a country where you can walk around at night and someone is going into their pocket, and you don't have that kind of fear that they might pull out a gun in a big crowd. That is just something that is indescribable, really, when you are walking around here. So no guns in China, AA. So the next one is, in America, you choose your own president. Now think about all that money that goes to elections. I mean, what, billions of dollars, choosing a president that half of the country doesn't even support, and then the president gets chosen and, you know, just drives the country down deeper into the hole. And where China, we don't choose presidents here in China. But what kind of order is going on here in China? Everyone respects the president. Everyone's having a good life. They don't need to worry about politics in China. Every single time I meet an American person, it's always just about politics. Like, think about how nice is it to have a conversation without politics, to talk about, you know, just life in general. How was your day at work? You know, not have a fight over politics. Here in China, everything just has more order. Look at all the money that is being spent here in China, not on elections, it's being spent on infrastructure. You know, the high-speed trains, for example, how to improve the lives of people here in China. That's where all that money goes. That's why in the US, the infrastructure, it's just getting worse and worse. Roads are not being fixed, bridges are just broken and never rebuilt again, because there's no money for that. There's no money to help people out of poverty with all the drug addictions in America, because all that money goes to the government, goes to elections. To do what? Here in China, they don't just spend it on infrastructure, they spend it on public schools that are free, public hospitals where, for example, women can give birth for free. And that is where the money goes here in China. Like, I am not trying to convince you that China is better than the US. That's not my point of this video. My point is that everything you guys in the West feel like that China doesn't have, it is a good thing for China, right? Like the no guns, for example. These kind of things help China not to choose a president. Look at where all the money goes. I'm just trying to show you the facts that every time the haters, for example, comment on my videos, or even those of you who don't hate China but don't really know that much about China, the way that the media is portraying China, I just want you to think of it in a different way. That you maybe are scared to come to China and tell me, oh, but Lizzie, I'm scared the government's going to lock me up and not allow me to go back to my country. Where is that even a thing? I just want you guys to keep an open mind, and that's why I make the kind of videos that I'm making. Not to always just badmouth the US, but just to prove that how much better it is life here in China. Like, my whole point is just, I want you to sometimes look at the US in a different light as well when I make the videos about the subway station. Like, America is this powerful country that everyone wants to be like, but no one wants to come to China. No one wants to even look at China. And that's why I compare the US versus China. Because it's so much better here in China that people don't know about. People feel like China is the bad guy, right? China is the villain, and I'm just trying to show you that it's not, because I've been living here for more than 6 years. Like now with the Xiaohongshu and TikTok stuff, right? Xiaohongshu is like the red note. A lot of people on TikTok, I saw a video the other day, a woman was actually crying in her video because she found out how little Chinese students spend on education, on being a lawyer. and how much debt she had. I think it was like more than $400,000 of debt that she found out she had. And it's a sad thing to talk about even. And now she found out that you can live a much better life. She didn't need to have all that debt. And that is where the money here in China goes to, is so people don't have that kind of pressure of debt. Next, we got a relaxed office culture. In the US, everything is more relaxed. You can wear any clothes you want. It's kind of informal. There, you can have a flexible schedule. But here in China, it's exactly the opposite. But I think the fact speaks for itself here in China, why China is becoming more and more successful and why it is beating the US in all aspects. I mean, China is the world's second largest economy and it's just fast growing. It literally was an agricultural economy, and look at the powerhouse it is today. The government brought 800 million people out of poverty 40 years ago. Let's look at something like infrastructure development, right? The high-speed trains. There is more than 42,000 kilometers of high-speed rail all over China, and it just keeps on growing. Then like your mega cities, right? Shenzhen, Shanghai, they literally grew from fishing villages to these major urbanized cities, power cities that they are today. And then the obvious one, the technological advancements that are going on here in China, right? Your Tencent, your BYD, all the cars, the WeChat Pay that we have here. We don't need a wallet, we don't need a bank card. Everything is just so convenient and it's just getting better. The EV cars, I mean, I just made a video about that. That is just mind-blowing how China keeps on growing and just is taking over the whole world, to be honest. So which one would you prefer? A relaxed office culture or where people work hard and really better the whole country? And then I want to finish off today with freedom of speech, the most obvious one. This might come as a shock to you, but in the US, you don't have as much freedom of speech as you think you have. Like, didn't Trump get kicked out of X because of stuff he said? There, you can get fired over making controversial comments and about your job. Right? You can get fired over that. You can say whatever you want. Bullying, cyberbullying, all these things are happening in the US. So you don't have as much freedom of speech. What? Just because you can say whatever you want about your president or about the government in the US, now you think you have freedom of speech? Here in China, you can literally, when we are talking friends to each other, you can talk about something. But we don't have a lot to say about the government here in China. I mean, I'm not a Chinese, but I hang out with a lot of Chinese people. They don't have a lot to say. So every time haters comment, oh, Lizzie, but there's no freedom of speech in China. Is that really a thing even? Or what kind of disadvantage does that give me living here in China? Literally zero. Like, my freedom of speech has nothing to do with the safety I have as a woman being here, having a good job, having a good life here in China, right? It's completely different. So freedom of speech is not a thing at all. And by the way, can you quickly just look at that woman? So my camera woman was standing in the middle of a bridge, and that woman very politely just moved her out of the way, my camera woman, and just paused. And that, again, right? People think, oh, Chinese people are so scary, they're so rude. Well, they're not. So I just wanted to talk about things. Look at those kids playing there. That's something you can do in China that you can't do in the US. There's no way in America or in most countries outside of China that you can let your kids run around by themselves for like an hour, 2 hours, I don't know how long, and not worry about them, knowing that they'll come back safe. That's why it's so nice to be able to have kids in this country where they can just be around. I mean, it's small things we need to appreciate more. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video today just to let people know more about China. Keep your mind open that maybe the things you think you have in the US that you don't have in China, it's to a benefit here in China. So yeah, just open your mind, and as always, please come to China, check it out. I mean, 240 hours a lot of countries have now to come to China. Just come. Let me know. I can try and show you around if I'm here in China. I can get some people show you around. So please let me know, and let me know in the comments if there's anything else you want me to talk about or go make a video about. I always appreciate your comments, and like and subscribe if you did like this video. And yeah, from a beautiful day in China, nearly Chinese New Year, I hope you have an amazing day, guys. See you in the next video. Bye.